I feel like we were desensitized young.
Right.
Where we come from, they mention your name with reverence and respect when they know you a reaper.
Real life.
It ain't real life. Just ain't real. Real life street stars. You know what time it is.
When you say anybody could be GD, right?
Yeah.
Is there like a protocol still like getting jumped in, or is that just somewhere you from the neighborhood or something?
Like if you GD, they light a match.
Okay.
And you got to fight until the match go out. And you can be a GD.
Oh, wow.
So when niggas be saying, calling me the big fella and all that type of shit, well, you got to earn that. And like, niggas saying, your friend act like you the president. Because technically I am, because they voted me to be a chief from the jail. But they wanted to sell fentanyl in the neighborhood. We said we ain't doing that. Started a war. And that war continues right now. And Dukai and
Yeah, we were, off camera we were talking about
this on camera right now?
Yeah, it is. So like, off camera we was talking about devil worshiping, because I started talking about the LA gangs and politics.
Yeah, because in Chicago you got the Satan disciples, the SDs.
Right.
In Cali you got the Devil Lions. They worship the devil. MS-13.
That's like straight devil worshiping.
The MS-13s actively worship the devil. They do satanic rituals and all of
that. Have you seen anything firsthand?
Hell yeah. Okay, so look. All right, I'll say this. So we would go to Mexico for certain things on human trafficking and stuff. And certain times they will be monitoring like some ladies, they'll call and say, oh, they detoxing me, they want me to drink, they want me to smoke. That means you finna get your organs took out your body. So like, if you look at that Hoover indictment that took place, in that paperwork, they were saying they was taking certain females to the border to sell their organs. And once they start detoxing you, that's what that's for. And, if you go down to Mexico and you got your girlfriend, they'll push up and offer you $50,000 for your girl. Like black girls down there selling $50,000.
Yeah, I heard about that. Like going down to Mexico and not coming back.
What all you heard about that?
I just heard like that's some shit that's happening.
Yeah, that's big. Like that's what's going on. So, we would go down there and they got complete control of that shit, bro. Like it ain't no police and shit like that. But the issue is though, wherever people call and pay, we go. The problem is when you go down there, the ball game totally different. Like once like sex workers get to like 24, 25, that's considered old.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you got two kidneys, them worth $40,000 each, your heart worth 70, the liver worth 100. For them, it's just kill you, take your organs out and sell that shit. That's why they targeted El Mencho. El Mencho was the biggest organ trafficker in the world.
They actually painted the city red behind that nigga.
And we never seen our government go after cartels before.
Right.
But El Mencho was an organ trafficker. That was his biggest business. And, that's who Epstein was getting a lot of kids from. So in order to tie out them loose ends, they went and got them.
Shit wild in the bitch. There's a lot of, like we just spoke about the satanic shit, right?
Right.
You think there is hell?
So, have you ever read the Book of Enoch?
Never, I haven't read it yet.
Hear the whole thing. 1610, King James and 47 other clergymen edited the Bible. This is why the guy Tazariak is dodging me. Because his literature comes out of the King James Bible. And King James used to have homosexual orgies. He got criticized by his people for taking 3 showers in 1 year. He got his own mother killed to be able to take power. After he edited the King James Bible, his next series of books was called Demonology. When you see somebody making a series of books called Demonology and you've removed 100 books from the original Bible, you got to be suspicious, because Jesus taught from the Dead Sea Scrolls. That's why I say I'm a follower of Christ. I don't get into the whole Christian thing, because Psalm 82 speaks about God reigns on a divine council of other gods. And I seen Tazariak say that right here with Bishop Eli. So in order to monetize these certain religions, they ignore these facts.
Right.
Because you cannot monetize a religion when there's more than one God. He's from Afghanistan. So when I see black men, let me ask y'all this question.
Yeah, let's do it.
In the Bible, it says a man got swallowed by a fish, survived in the stomach for a week, a whale, and then got vomited onto the beach. Whales are filter feeders. They eat plankton. Stomach acids, you can't survive in that. This is mythology. Would you tell your kids this?
No, not necessarily.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was a theology major. I've read the Quran. I've read all of the hadiths. I've read the Talmud, the Torah. I've read 7 different Bibles. None of these books is there a quote from a woman. And that ain't suspicious to nobody. Muhammad.
Women weren't allowed to speak back then, were they?
Huh?
They weren't allowed to have no type of opinion like that, Rick.
Peep this. Muhammad was a warlord, slave trader, couldn't read or write. His wife Khadijah was the one who wrote the Quran. For him, he couldn't read or write. And then he had a 6-year-old wife. They ignore this fact. I travel across the world. I go to Nigeria. You got 30-year-old men marrying 6-year-olds.
You saw this.
Seen this. In Mauritania, there's a slave auction every Thursday. They didn't outlaw slavery in Mauritania until the 80s. So when I see a group of Muslims, to me, I see a bunch of niggas who will fuck a 6-year-old. Because that's what happened. Every time the Archangel Michael was listed in the Bible, he said, "Fear not, for I'm a servant of the Lord." Muhammad was in a cave, and he said the person he encountered almost killed him and gave him the Quran. Why would an all-seeing force give the religion to lead the world to an illiterate man? Do that make sense?
No.
So this is what I have to ask, because like I'll go down like a rabbit hole of religion, and you know.
Don't call it a rabbit hole, bro.
Okay.
Because a rabbit hole is just that. At the end of that hole, you're going to see a rabbit's den.
Right.
It's past rabbit holes now, because everything they told us was a conspiracy turned out to be true.
Right. So where does it land? Because where do you land?
Well, hold on.
What was the question you was about to ask?
Because that was the question. It was like, where does this all land? Because, you know, we can...
It lands at this. 1561, Nuremberg, Germany. There was a UFO event, which was a war, a battle that took place. The wrong side won. Point blank period. And we live in the aftermath of that. What they say? They seen metallic spheres, cross-shaped objects battling each other.
life. If that shit ain't real life,
It ain't real life. Just ain't real. Real life street stars.